we discussed regarding as a formation of a Indian Union. Afterwards, a reorganization of all the states in Indian Union, the framers of an Indian Constitution, dignitaries which were responsible, which were contributed in a national struggle, they decided how to divide the country, for which as they opted a criteria as a linguistic. On behalf of a linguistic ideals, the country divided into at earlier as in 14 states. These states were based on languages, on a basis of languages. Just after the independence, the leaders of a Congress in India, they already had been divided. They decided at earlier to divide the country on a basis of a religious basis, but could not afford, because the country which was as a different parts of a country in India, where as a different number of religious communities collectively living in a conditions. So then in later they decided to divide the country on a linguistic basis. Many of the sections, these sections of people were expressed their disappointment in the form of protest marches or the hunger strikes or bunds. In 1952, a veteran Gandhian philosophy, a follower of a Gandhian philosophy, Potti Ramulu, he sacrificed himself for the formation of a separate state as Andhra Pradesh, a separate state in Indian dominance. For the formation of its Potti Ramulu, it was gone in a hunger strike, and unfortunately in a 58th day he died. Afterwards, as a state reorganization commission was set up in our country, and all the states at earlier as a 14 states came into existence. In this process, as Punjab came into existence on 1966, 1st November 1966, Punjab separated from Haryana. This much we discussed in a previous class. So let's continue towards as a planning years. Our next topic as the planning for development. We were discussing regarding as the development. Development means improvements in economy in relation to the living standard of people, eradication of poverty, solving the problem of unemployment. Those economies which now presently are developed, they are developed in relation to the high per capita income. They are solving the problem of poverty. Unemployment is not existing in such economies. Those economies are considered as developed at present. The status of a development for a country is, it has study in relation to per capita income, CAPITA, per capita income. Development study in relation to the per capita income, poverty, eradication of poverty, and solving the problem of unemployment. Per capita income means average income, total income which is earned by the average individuals, all the individuals in economy. You are also a part of it. Per capita income calculated per capita income calculated as a total income divided by the total population of a country. So you are also a part of it. Presently, you are not contributing in economy. You are not producing anything, but you are contributing in near in future. You will contribute in economy. You are the assets. You all are the assets of economy. You are the property of the economy. In near in future, when you will engage themselves in any of a production activity, means you will contribute in economy with production of goods and services. Second, as a poverty, when a person unable to complete their basic needs is a poverty. So those economies are developed which are not having that problem, poverty. means the people are the self-sufficient, they can complete their basic necessities, food, shelter, clothing. In such economies, as poverty not existing. Third, unemployment. Unemployment means it is a situation. Unemployment is a situation in which unemployment is a situation in which a person is ready to work. A person is ready to work but unable to find jobs. There is one person is there which is as a professionally qualified, which is as ready to work, but jobs are not there. That state of a economy, that state of that particular individual is known as unemployment. So those economies which are developed at present, they are not having as a poverty, unemployment, but a high per capita income. For example, US, United States of America, Russia, Canada, Australia, England, France. These are the economies which are having as a high living standard, high per capita income. But as compared to this, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, these are the countries which are possessing as a low per capita income. Poverty is still existing in such economies, such countries, and unemployment. So to solve such kind of problems, in 1950, Planning Commission established by the Government of India. Planning Commission established in 1950 in India. 1950. Why? What was the objective? For economic development of economy. Planning Commission set up by the Planning Commission established by the government for economic development of economy. Means to solve the problem of unemployment, poverty, and increasing per capita income, for which as a Planning Commission established. In 2014, the name of a Planning Commission changed. Now presently is known as a Niti Aayog. Presently, Planning Commission is known as a Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. When Planning Commission, it was as established in 1950. Its prime objective was for economic development in economy. Economic development, for which Planning Commission, it started to formulate the 5-year plans. 5-year plans. 5-year plans initiated by the Planning Commission. 5-year plans means for the upcoming 5 years, what will be as a strategies of a nation in relation to the development? कि development को कैसे achieve किया जा सकता है, उसके लिए क्या objective है? For example, government, it will be as a procure some amount of a money for growth of health institutes, hospitals, education, roads कितनी चाहिए, कितनी industries extra चाहिए, how many number of schemes are required, all these. Same as in our house, in your houses, there your parents are planning for the upcoming month, upcoming year. Upcoming month has a some amount of money procured for a health issues, for the school fees, for the some of the other marriage, different number of needs. Same as country also plan for their future for this as the first 5-year plan initiated in 1951, 1951 to 1956, 1951 to 56, which targeted for the solving the problem of a food in our country, means agricultural growth. Agricultural growth emphasized by in first 5-year plan initiated in 1951 to 56. First 2 5-year plans, afterwards the second 5-year plan, till the present, till 2022, 12 5-year plans initiated by the Government of India. 12 5-year plans initiated by Government of India. 1 to 12 5-year plans initiated by the Government of India. अगर आप इसका total करो, then it will be as a not correct figure. The reason is that when Indo-Pak battles were fought by the India and Pakistan engaged in a battles. It was a time of 1962 Indo-China War 1965, 1971, Bangladesh formation 1999, Kargil operation. Under such circumstances as the annual plans were framed, annual plans, and 12th 5-year plan, it was as ended in 2017. 2017 के बाद annual plans बने हैं. So that's why as जो आपको figure होगा वो same नहीं आएगा. But आज तक total 12 5-year plans initiated by the Planning Commission for sectoral growth of economy. At the early phase of the independence, just after the independence, 1960s, age of the 1970s, government targeted towards as a agriculture to improve as the production in a agriculture. 1960s, 1970s, it was a time period when Green Revolution introduced in India, and you are familiar with the Green Revolution. Green Revolution, the technique introduced in Indian subcontinent, in which newer methodology, machines, new tools, machines, methodology, fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides used in agricultural fields, HYV seeds, assured irrigation used in agricultural fields for increase in production. At the time of that India, which was as a dependent upon America and China to import their food grains, it became as the self-reliant. India now presently as a self-reliant in food grains. We are exporting our food grains towards the other economies. It's possible due to as a Green Revolution. That Green Revolution which introduced under the first 2 5-year plans. Clear? First 2 5-year plans. So for 1960s and 1970s, as government initiated as the agricultural growth, which is the which part of economy? Roll number. Yes, Angel, raise your hand. Angel, 8C. 2 roll number in both the classes, 8C and D. 2 roll number, raise your hands. 2 roll number, 8C and 8D. 8C, Angel. Yes, can you tell me about the agriculture lies in which sector of economy? Angel. You read the agriculture chapter in your geography. Yes, Jayant.
Sir, primary sector.
Jayant.
Sir, primary sector.
Jayant, 15 roll number 8D.
Sir,
Yes, Anshika.
Primary sector.
Wait, let me. Yes.
Primary sector.
It's a primary sector. So 1960s, 70s, the age when government emphasized over the primary sector, growth of primary sector. Then afterwards, they shifted their concern towards as a secondary sector, means industries, 1970s, 80s. And afterwards, the 1990s as a growth in a tertiary sector. That's why the growth in a telecommunication services improved afterwards the 1990s. Telecommunication services, banking, insurance, medical, health, the marketing, these were improved afterwards the 1990s. Just in a recent in time, tertiary sector is the fastest growing sector of Indian economy at present. Fastest growing sector of Indian economy. Our economy is a mixed economy. We use a term mixed economy in concern of a Indian economy. Why? Because in our country, public sector and private sector collectively work. They collectively work. Mixed economy means that economy, mixed economy means that economy which follow or which has based on a public sector means those industries which are controlled and managed by the government and their agencies, public sector and private sector. Those Mixed economy is that economy which has based upon a public sector as well as private sector. Public sector means those economies which are those economies or those industries which are collectively controlled, managed by the government and their agency. अब government के पास पूरे resources नहीं है, for which it has hiring the some agencies, organizations, government and its agencies is public sector. For example, BSNL managed by the public sector. BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, Steel Authority of India Limited. These are the organizations which are directly as handled by the agencies of government. And private sector, those industries which are controlled and managed by the individuals or group of individuals. That individual, it may be a giant of HC or a group of individuals complete of a HC. So it may be as a one group or an individual when they are responsible for a growth of industries are the private sector industries. So mixed economy is that economy which has based on a public as well as private sector industries. Private sector industries. Public sector industries are work for the welfare. Private sector industries are work for the profits to earn maximum profits. Government responsible for availability of goods. Private companies are responsible for the distribution of services. One example is there, Punjab State Electricity Board. आपने सुना होगा नाम, Punjab State Electricity Board. That organization governed under the public sector, governmental sector, responsible for the electricity, power supply. Before of 2009, power supply, it was not as a good in a condition in our state, Punjab. Because at that time, government only is responsible for a welfare. Afterwards, the privatization of a public sector, government ensure availability of electricity and private companies responsible for the distribution. Clear? So that is as the role in a mixed economy. Not only as a government, private companies collectively, they go hand in hand for a growth of economy. For growth of economy. Till there any questions? Yes. Any questions? जब ये PSEB, Punjab State Electricity Board, Punjab State Electricity Board, government responsible for availability of goods. सामान कैसे लाना है, किस सोर्स से लाना है, this is as a responsibility because it needs as a international treaties. उसके लिए government responsible है. अब उसको कैसे लोगों तक पहुंचाना है, for which as a private sector. That's why I use here the word mixed economy. Both public sector, private sector, they go hand in hand. They collectively function within as an economy to achieving the developmental goals. These are the developmental goals. High per capita income, solve problem of poverty and unemployment. Government self-sufficiently can't eradicate the such problems because of a large such economies where the large population is existing. When we talking about the eradicate the such problems in a smaller population areas, then it is possible. The country which is possessing the 130 crores of population, such of the large population needs as a more availability of services. For it, as a mixed economy as a best way. Mixed economy, which is now as presently in our country. Till there any questions? Then we proceed towards the next. Privatization. Privatization means when the private sector dominating over economy. Private sector dominating over economy. हम अपनी country के अंदर we can't fully dependent upon a private sector. If we, आपने वो पढ़ा होगा law and social, public facilities. In public facilities, you learn that if we given as a responsibility of our public facilities to the private companies, which will work for profits, then it will be as a makes the possibilities of exploitation of a poorers. Such poorers, downtrodden, low standard people which can't afford the basic facilities, then how can they will survive? For the such kind of a people, government has owning the public facilities at their hands, which has providing such facilities at a low cost or a minimum minimum amount to the all the sections of people. That's where health education as presently managed by the public sector. Clear? So in 1956, the second five-year plan initiated, it was as a formulated for a development of a heavy industries in India. Heavy industries such as the iron and steel industries. Iron and steel industries are also known as a basic industry. Yes, anybody? Anybody answer it? Why we called iron and steel industries as a basic industries? Garvit, raise your hand. Garvit. This chapter history is a summarized form of all the chapters which you discussed in throughout the year in history. Yes, Angel.
Sir, iron and steel industries are called basic industries because they feed other industries in making goods.
Very good. So other industries are dependent. These are the based on iron and steel industries. For example, developing as an infrastructure, building the for construction purposes, for manufacturing of machines, we need as a iron, which is as the providing the base to the other sectors of economy. Other sectors, other economies, other industries are dependent upon the iron and steel industries. So after 1956, government started as their concern towards the development of iron and steel industries and supportive to the growth in economy. With the growth of large scale industries, the small scale industries, such industries, they solve the problem of unemployment. Growth of industries, it solved the problem of unemployment, which is as a situation in which a person is ready to work but unable to find a job. At the time of independence, when people which were eligible, which were ready to work but unable to find a jobs, such number of people dependent upon a primary sector, agricultural activities. That's why we also call the Indian economy is based upon a agriculture, primary sector. Our economy is based on a agriculture or primary sector activities. Why? Because 70% of a job opportunities, 60 to 70% of a job opportunities directly and indirectly provided by the primary sector. 60 to 70% of job opportunities directly and indirectly provided by the primary sector. Directly in the sense, those farmers and laborers which are directly engaged in agricultural activities. Indirectly in the sense, those industries which are related to the agriculture, agro-based industries. Agro-based industries, example, sugar industries, vegetable oil, edible oil, cotton textiles, sugar industries. These are the industries indirectly as dependent upon agriculture. Agriculture provide them as a raw material on which as these industries are work. These industries. So 60 to 70% of job opportunities directly and indirectly provided by the agricultural sector in our economy. Agriculture. That's why Indian economy is based upon a primary sector industries. With growth of industries, unemployment started to as a decreasing in our country. Those people which are having as their earnings, through the earnings, they use such money for completion of their basic needs like food, shelter, clothing. Means a person which can complete their basic needs. This is as a person living above poverty line. Above poverty line. The person is not known as under poverty. This is as above poverty, means middle class families. We all are belong from the middle class families. So those people which can complete their basic necessities, basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, known as the middle class families or above poverty line. So for which as a government started as or to improve the number of industries through which the people getting as a jobs and eradicating the poverty in India. At the time of independence, are 57% of a total population living under the poverty. It was that kind of population which can't afford the food, because food, most of the food imported from the US and China. It was as expensive. After getting as a self-reliant in a food grains through the Green Revolution, then the food grains accessible, affordable for those poorest which were living as a below poverty line. Below poverty line. Clear? Below. Anshika, clear? Yes, others? Below poverty line. So government has started their procedure, the sectoral growth of economy, for which as a planning commission established. Planning commission established. Clear? Planning commission established. In relation to the number of natural resources in our country, Mahatma Gandhi, he quoted one of the statements. His statement was that there is enough, note down, Mahatma Gandhi quote one of the statements in relation to the natural resources in India, that there is enough number of resources available in enough enough number of resources available in India to satisfy needs of all, not the greeds. Means the sufficient number of resources are available in our country to completing needs of all. But due to as a greed of a limited number of companies, the organizations, our natural resources are getting exploited. These are exploited. So one of the followers of Mahatma Gandhi also wrote in context of the developmental processes after independence, that the science and machinery may get the huge returns for a time, but ultimately will come the desolation. So those number of resources which are presently as used to achieving as a level of their development, it will be as a gives as a returns in future. Those efforts which are done afterwards are independence for improving, for pacing the growth in economy, it will be as a visualized in a form of a development, in near in future. That's why we call Indian economy is a developing economy. India and Pakistan declared, both the countries declared independent in the same time. You read last chapter as Pakistan independent on 14 August 1947 and India on 15 August 1947. Both the countries declared independent on the same time. But after 70 years of Indian independence, Pakistan economy is underdeveloped. There is as the poverty is spread at a larger number. People are illiterate. Unemployment is existing. But after 70 years of Indian independence, India becomes as a developing nation. Our population is more comparatively to Pakistan. Our problems are the more comparatively to Pakistan. But still, India is developing. India is improving their conditions due to as the growth in economy. Due to the growth in economy. Such growth, it channelized, it visualized in a form of a planning commission which was set up in 1950 for sectoral growth of economy. Growth of economy, in which as the earlier primary sector developed, then as a secondary sector, then as the tertiary sector. Now as the tertiary sector providing as a more number of job opportunities comparatively to other sectors. Those people which were earlier burdened on a primary sector, these are beneficial to increase growth in a tertiary and a secondary sector. The type of people which were not getting as earlier, not getting the jobs in a secondary and tertiary sector, they were dependent on a primary sector. Such kind of the workforce at earlier known as a hidden unemployed. Hidden unemployed means that person which has not accessing towards the job opportunities. They were dependent upon agricultural fields for earning of their livelihoods. These were such kind of the laborers which were not getting the jobs in other sectors. Due to the inclusion of a such workforce, it neither impact over the production. One example, pay attention everybody. I'm having as a 1 acre of a land. 1 acre of a land, for a 1 acre of a land throughout the year, 2 persons are sufficient. Those persons which will be as a use for a leveling, tilling a land, sowing purposes for irrigating a land, then afterwards as a growth of a crop, then harvest the crop. Those people which are not getting the jobs in the industries, they are also dependent on a same agriculture fields. 2 are desirable, 2 extra are working in a same agriculture field. Means extra workforce which has included in a such agriculture field. These are those which are not getting jobs in other sectors. Due to the inclusion, production not affected. Land similar है, fertility same है, time period जो crop को produce growth होने के लिए लग रहा है उतना same लग रहा है. Extra workforce neither impact over a production. Extra workforce से production थोड़ा ना बढ़ेगी. With the use of extra workforce production, it can be only possible in industries. So in agriculture sector, extra burden of a population not influence over the increase in production or decrease. अगर उनको हटा भी दिया जाए, उससे production पे impact नहीं पड़ेगा. Such kind of unemployed known as a hidden unemployed. Hidden unemployed. So due to as a growth of industries in other sector, so those which were the burden on a primary sector, they remove from this and pressure, the burden on a primary sector reduce. It visualized in a form of improvements in a job opportunities. Improvements in job opportunities. So this much for today. Rest we will continue on tomorrow. Tomorrow we will start from the last topic as afterwards the 1960s. What was as a pace of a development in India? What were the strategies of India afterwards the 1960s? 1960s towards the modern in time, what kind of the efforts done by the central government in relation to the development? For example, afterwards that the government, it become as a part of a different number of world organizations. One of it as a SAARC, S-A-A-R-C, South Asian Association of Republican Countries, which includes as India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Singapore, Thailand, Sri Lanka. These countries are collectively known as a SAARC countries, S-A-A-R-C. They are mutually solving their internal issues, internal trade. अगर किसी country का किसी दूसरी country के साथ, for example, India, Pakistan having their dispute of borders in Jammu and Kashmir and parts of Gujarat. ऐसे disputes को वो mutually solve करते हैं, ना कि किसी और की United Nations की interference नहीं होती. Clear? So India become as a part of a different number of organizations after the independence to set up as a good relations in a world economies. India has now presently has signed the number of treaties with the Russia and the US, which you learned in your previous classes as after the Second World War, world divided among as the 3 groups. One group which was dominated by the US, America, second group dominated by the Russia, and the third group which was neither preferred by the Russia or nor by the America. It was as a non-aligned movement. India opted as a path of a non-aligned movement. It become as a neutral in between of Russia and America. Presently, both the economies, both the countries having their disputing conditions, not in a healthy relations, but India having it developing as a good relations with the both of such economies. We will continue from tomorrow. Yes, any questions? Any questions? Some of the individuals